why am I reviewing your fragrance? Well, it was about time I gave something back. A big proportion of my subscribers are female, and it's time I did something for them other than, you know, showing off this. It's about time they got something out of this channel. Well, I mean, I say that. I'm quite sure there's a big chunk of my subscribers are female. I mean, if it's not, this video is going to die on its arse. So I sincerely hope so. Hold on, just bear with me a second. I'll have a look. Analytics. Here we go. Oh, for fuck. Word to your mother. My name's Steve, this channel is FRAG30 and thanks for tuning in. It's appreciated, as always. As you've probably seen from the intro, I'm doing something a little bit different today. Well, I say a little bit different, it's very different. I've never done this before. I'm reviewing a lady's fragrance. So I recently bought my wife a brand new fragrance. She wanted to try something different. I blind bought a fragrance based on kind of reviews and research, etc. that I thought she would like, that I thought I would like, and it turns out we struck gold. It's a banger. So I wanted to share it with you. With Christmas coming up, I thought this is a great time to share it because this I would highly recommend as a gift for the woman in your life. So the fragrance I'm talking about is a 2019 release from the House of Guerlain, and it is Mon Guerlain Intense. So as I said, this is a 2019 release and it's a flank with the original Mon Guerlain. Now, when I was doing my research, I found out there was quite a few flankers in this range. There's the original Mon Guerlain, there's Mon Guerlain the EDT version, they released a Floral version as well, and they also all get compared to Mon Exclusif as well, which I don't think counts as a flanker, but it must have some similarities because a lot of people are comparing it online. Now, as you can see, the bottle is really well presented. The glass bottle is very similar to all of the others in the range, but it is a very nice bottle, and they've embossed Guerlain on the front there, which really kind of adds to the quality. And what with the cap, again, not being a standard square or kind of plasticky cap, it's kind of quite a nice design to the cap, with some decoration around there, and the actual atomizer sprayer is coloured as well to match with the juice. So again, really top notch on the presentation there from Guerlain. So notes wise then, according to FRAG30, at the top you've got some lavender, some mandarin and bergamot. In the mids there's some iris, there's rose, there's jasmine sambac, there's two types of vanilla because it is very prominent in this fragrance. There's Tahitian vanilla and there's Madagascan vanilla. In the base you've got some licorice, you've got benzoin and patchouli, some white musk, some Australian sandalwood, and there's also coumarin as well. So I'm not going to claim that I can get every one of those notes, but I will now tell you kind of what I get from this fragrance. So right at the top of this fragrance, as I've said in the note breakdown, there is some mandarin and there's some bergamot and there's some lavender. Now, I don't really get much mandarin, but right at the top, I do get some of the lavender and I do get some kind of citrusiness that you get from the bergamot. Now, I emphasize that is right at the top because it does not hang around at all. I'm talking about you spray it and you smell it, and I get some of that freshness, that citrusiness with some lavender, but it does piss off fairly quickly. It basically goes straight into the mids really after 5 minutes, and that's when the vanilla starts coming through because this is quite prominent on the vanilla. Now, again, anybody that watches this channel, you know, I've got a funny relationship with vanilla, but the vanilla in this is lovely. It's just really smooth. It's really, really sweet, but in a nice, not synthetic, nasty kind of way or sickly. It's just a very kind of smooth sweetness. So I assume it's that vanilla kind of mixing in with, you get some of the white musk as well as it dries down, and it mixes in with the benzoin, and it just gives it this just real nice creamy sweetness with the sandalwood as well. That kind of adds into it. Now, I don't get too much of kind of coumarin. I get a little bit of licorice. Again, it's not very prominent to me, so I wouldn't let that put you off if you're not a big fan of licorice. I'm not. So yeah, on paper, this was almost a bit of a risk for me if I liked it, but actually it's really worked because the vanilla with the sandalwood and the musk, it just blends to have this nice creamy sweetness. Again, the benzoin's not too kind of synthetic. Sometimes benzoin can be really synthetically sweet, but it's not to me anyway. It just comes across in this very nice kind of, I get some of the sandalwood, so it's kind of slightly woody, but just a nice creamy sweetness, and of course with the kind of rose and iris as well. So I get a little bit of iris and a bit more rose in the florals. Now, I'm not I don't really smell many female fragrances. I'm not an expert in that, so I'm not going to claim to be. So I've never been great at distinguishing different types of florals. So I'm not going to stand here and sort of claim that I can get each and every one. But I do certainly get some rose, and I get a hint of the iris. And I said the lavender I can get really early on, but that does leave fairly quickly to me anyway. So you're left with this floral, sweet, creamy, sandalwood kind of package that's just really, really nice. And it's not just me that likes it either. My wife has been really pleased with it. It's basically become her signature scent. She really likes it, which I'm really chuffed with. So, because it was a blind buy and it wasn't cheap, so it was, but I'm really chuffed. It was definitely kind of worth a punt because she's been wearing it loads and I've really liked her wearing it. It works. And that is one of the strengths, I would say, of this fragrance and why I think it would make a really good gift, because it has some versatility. I don't think this is like a teeny bopper fragrance, but I don't think this is an old woman's fragrance either. For me, this is someone, I mean, early 20s could wear this, but I think this is kind of like mid 20s to mid 30s, I think is a good age group for this fragrance, because it just comes across as sophisticated yet sexy. So kind of, and confident as well. So it's kind of like a woman like my wife basically, who's kind of 30-ish and she's kind of got her shit together. She's very confident, very self-assured, you know, doing well, but you know, it's still really friendly and approachable. It's that kind of fragrance, and it sort of emphasizes that in its versatility. I think this is sexy and attractive enough that you could wear on a night out if you were going out with your lady friends, or you were going out on the pool clubbing or to a bar, etc, etc. But I also think that it's sophisticated enough that you could wear in the office and to your day job. And that's basically kind of how my wife has been using it, which is why it's been rinsed to hell. She's been wearing it to work. She's a deputy head teacher, and she's also been wearing it kind of, we went out on a date the other night, she wore it then as well. So it works. It just works in most situations if you're the right kind of woman to wear it. The performance is really good on this fragrance as well. It lasts. It certainly lasts longer than I do when she's wearing it. If she puts it on in the morning, I can certainly still smell it on her in the evening when she gets home from work and we kind of greet each other. It's still kind of noticeable. So the performance is really good. I can't really comment on the projection because I've not worn it myself, but when I've been with her, I can certainly smell it, particularly in the first kind of, again, the usual sort of 2 to 3 hours. I can still certainly smell it. And again, when you're getting a bit closer, as I say, at the end of the day, I can still smell it then. So performance-wise, you've got nothing to worry about on this fragrance. So do I recommend this fragrance then? And yes, of course I do. It is a great fragrance for the right type of woman. I've already kind of discussed what sort of woman that is, but just to give you another example, I'm gonna use a line that my friend used. I'm gonna kind of quote him a little bit or misquote him when he was chatting somebody up in a bar, and she said, "How old do you think I am?" And he said, "You look young enough to still be sexy and attractive, but you look mature enough to be able to hold a really good conversation." Now, that was, depending on your viewpoint, either the smoothest, slickest, or the cringiest bullshit I've ever seen. But it sums this fragrance up well. This fragrance is for the woman that's mature enough, that she's confident, she's self-assured, and she knows what she wants, but she's young enough to still be attractive and sexy and kind of get guys giving her attention. So if you're that sort of woman, or if you want to be that sort of woman, or gents, your lady is that sort of woman, then buy this fragrance and you can't go wrong. So thanks for watching. By all means, comment below and tell me what your favorite female fragrance is, and that doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. I'll be curious to know, because I'd like to kind of get more into female fragrances. It's just a shame my wife isn't into fragrances as much as me. If you did get something out of this, by all means, please hit that thumbs up, because it helps me kind of grow the channel. And if you haven't done so, hit that subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. Thanks again for watching. I do love you, and I will see you for the next one. Take care, much love.